like to welcome up our next two speakers, Mr. Jim Woodring, Executive Vice President of National Golf Management, and Mr. Paul Sampliner, Senior Director of Training and Products for GolfNow.com. And we're going to talk value versus lower green fees when discounting gets counterproductive. Welcome to the Symposium, guys. We'd like to start by letting each of them just talk a little bit about their business and how their business relates to the subject at hand. So let's start with Paul.
Sure. You want to stand if that's okay? Yeah. There you go. All right, well, thanks again for inviting us out here. I think this is a really good opportunity to share ideas. And we see a lot of misconceptions about Golf Now out there, so I think this is a good chance to clear it up. So what Golf Now is we are a third-party marketing company, for one thing that we do. We partner with 4,200 courses all over the world, about 7 different countries. 4,000 of those are actually in states here. This year we're online to do about 8 million rounds of golf. And on our websites, we get about 200 million page views on those sites. So it's actually pretty powerful. The neat thing about it is that the courses actually control the price of the tee times that are posted on Golf Now. So how do the rates get up there? So this whole thing, big sign here, says affordable golf. And if I had something in my pocket, in my back pocket, that said create some tee times that are more affordable for players, and at the same time creates profitability and added revenue for operators, would that be a good thing? What do you think? Yeah, it makes sense, right? So I have it. It's in my pocket, and it's called revenue management. Anybody familiar with revenue management? Yeah, I think it makes sense. So what revenue management is, it's really finding the right price for the right time at the right golf course. And I think what we see across the country is that most courses utilize revenue management in some shape or form. So we see a lot, Saturday is a different price than Tuesday. Why is Saturday different than Tuesday? Yeah, demand obviously makes sense, right? It's more crowded, more demand on Saturday than it is on Tuesday, therefore the price goes up. Conversely, what about Tuesday, right? So is the price the same on Tuesday at 11 o'clock when it's 50 degrees and cold versus 80 degrees and sunny? Is demand the same? Probably not, right? Is price the same? Typically it is. So we're seeing kind of contrary from what courses are already doing, because they're pricing differently on Saturday versus Tuesday than on Tuesday based on the weather. And in reality, there's 15 or 20 other factors that courses need to look at when using revenue management. So that's what we're talking about. So what I'd like to do is replace the word discount today. So we hear this term third-party discounter, right? What I'd like to do is replace that term discounter with revenue management, right? So we see the smarter operators are doing it. We see revenue management being utilized by some of the top operators in the country, management companies, Troon Golf, Billy Casper Golf, American Golf, right? So all these operators are utilizing revenue management. There's really no way to practice revenue management, and we couldn't do this 20 years ago because there really was no internet. But today, through the internet, we're really able to do it much more effectively, right? We see this in other industries. We see it in baseball tickets. We see it in hotels. Of course, we see it in airlines. So any industry that has fixed costs, high fixed costs, and fixed seats, and price-sensitive customers can participate in revenue management. So it really makes sense. I want to take a second and go back to the word discounting, right? So what is discounting and where does it come from, right? Where is it starting from? I get a lot of emails, 30, 40, 50 emails a day from courses all over the country promoting discounts, right? Come out today. It's a beautiful day, here's a special just for you. Right? Hopefully we want to look at that as yield managed or revenue managed specials. Right? So they see a slow spot on their tee sheet and they're revenue managing, they're advertising to their customers, come out and play, I know you're a frequent golfer. So it makes sense, right? So instead of discounting, again, it's revenue management or optimizing revenue. So I think there's a solution, right? So it's less expensive golf for some of those tee times, right? Those distressed tee times or not very valuable tee times. More expensive golf for high demand tee times, right? Ultimately gives the golfer more affordable golf and ultimately will result in about 5 to 10% increased revenue for the operator. So Lastly, I wanted to just leave this with, golf I think is really similar to the hotel industry, right? And if you look at third parties in the hotel industry, you'll see it's been around much longer, 10, 20 years, right? And how the hotel industry has grasped revenue management and third-party resellers is that it's become a necessary part of the business. So we see hotels, 10, 20, 30% of their business is from third parties. So it's a necessary, important part of their revenue stream. And I think where we're going in the future is golf courses will see that as well.
My name is Jim Woodring. I'm with National Golf Management, and I'd like to just outline the company a little bit. National Golf Management is a new company in Myrtle Beach. It's actually the combining of assets of two of the largest companies that did business in Myrtle Beach. Both of them founding kind of fathers of the golf industry. Myrtle Beach National especially, okay, they helped bring Golf Holiday into play, okay. Golf Holiday is a consortium of golf courses and hotels that were created about 30 years ago to jointly market golf packages in Myrtle Beach. These were the founding fathers of Myrtle Beach. Burroughs and Chapin was another company, okay? The exact same thing. They've been in the local industry for 100 years, I think. That's right, the Burroughs and Chapin side, certainly not Myrtle Beach National. And both of the officers of the company, about a year ago, we decided to take the assets of the golf parts of those companies. One is that Myrtle Beach National had large hotel assets, and Burroughs and Chapin is the second largest landholder in the state of South Carolina. We created a new company, which was called National Golf Management. We have 23 courses that we own and manage, and we've been doing business in the market for 60 years, okay? When the families have done hotels and so forth. Paul mentioned hotels. Myrtle Beach National had, at one point in the previous company, we had up to 6,000 rooms in our inventory from a sister relationship with another company and stockholders in that. And so we have done what we call PACE, is what we call it, rate management, okay, for years. And we've done it on the golf side for years. I mean, I hate to say this, but, when we're talking about tee time pricing, well, our hotels, if everybody doesn't understand Myrtle Beach, they were the sole source of marketing golf packages in Myrtle Beach. It was never the golf courses. They did it to their databases in the rooms. They would do direct mail. Golf Holiday would do this exact same thing. And the hotel was then the conduit for the golf tee times. Now, the reason I even explain that is that the hotel industry has been much, much better over the years, let alone the internet coming into play, of actually yielding their price. And what was ironic when you were talking about the weekend, well, that's kind of obvious, okay? But what people wouldn't realize is that in Myrtle Beach in the summer, Monday through Thursday, the prices go up, and on the weekends, they go down. And somebody said, well, why would you do that? I said, well, the weekends, check in, check out. Nobody's playing golf the first day in. So we adapt to it. We came up with pricing years ago for midweek, PM, late afternoon, okay? Midweek, they say, why? Well, demand is down. Hotels, they can't get anybody to travel on the weekdays, okay, for golf packages. So we would all get together, come up with a lower room rate, come up with a lower golf rate, and package it and join it together. So the thing that's really changed all this for us in Myrtle Beach as a perspective is that we're probably innovative in the fact that almost 21 years ago, the whole market actually went on one tee sheet. It was called T-Links now, okay? And so you had every golf course that put all their inventory out there on one tee sheet. And that allowed all the package providers, as well as golf courses within your golf group, okay, to book tee times. So instantly, we put our inventory with our partners in Myrtle Beach, so let's just call it a round number of 100 different properties that were on T-Links. And so the internet now has just changed this all into one big difference, is that now the hotel package providers are not the only source to do tee times, right? Internet. I stand here as a representative of National Golf Management, but at the same time, we are what you would classify as a third-party provider. We not only sell our golf courses, but we sell every other golf course in Myrtle Beach and have for years. Local guys in the golf business, they've looked at me and sometimes they've when I first started the Tee Time card, they said, "Why are you selling everybody else?" And I said, "Why wouldn't I?" I said, "We've only got 10 golf courses right now. There's all these other golf courses." I said, "They're not going to play us every time. But they will use our resources available, which is our website and so forth, to book the Tee Times. They'd be in our database, and we would then hopefully get to sell them a future Tee Time." So we've kind of, what I see is happening in the industry right now is, and I mean this in the right way, is kind of what we've been doing in Myrtle Beach for a while. It's become global. And T-Links is a platform that runs across a lot of different travel destinations. And we're a third-party provider, but we're one of the biggest third-party providers to ourselves and other golf courses in Myrtle Beach. So pricing, being fluid, realizing that the time of the year, time of the day, is imperative to what we can do to drive golfers to our golf courses. But I wanted to say one little piece, and then we'll open this up, okay, is that, price is an amazing thing. We have, and I don't know everybody's markets here. They're all different, right? We're a travel destination market. We do have a large population of what we call second homeowners. All of those units that are condominiums and so forth in Myrtle Beach were bought by somebody that was a frequent visitor to the area, and they're still frequent visitors. And they just look for a different source to do Tee Times. They came out of a package with a room to a Tee Time only package. And they do that online. They can research price. They couldn't do that when they were looking for a package provider because they couldn't research the golf courses. So we tried not to make it just price driven, but when you are looking at the websites, and you'll probably find us or one of ours, okay, when you go to Myrtle Beach, you'll notice that we have what we call the Myrtle Beach Golf Insider. And it is reviews, it's over 17,000 right now. It's almost not even 3 years old. And we get golfers to actually post reviews of the golf courses on that website. And we built that into the online booking engine now. So if you decide you want to pick Caledonia, you can go there and you'll probably see reviews from the last couple of days, what people thought of it, okay? It's a marvelous tool for the consumer. It's also a marvelous tool from a management standpoint because everybody in our company, everybody, myself, Bob, the president, every head golf professional, every superintendent, all the reservation staffs, every day, everybody gets every review that was posted on the website for every golf course. So we know exactly what the conditioning is and so forth. Reviews for golf courses, just like reviews for recipes on websites for epicurious.com as an example, the Forks, it's an integral part for the consumer to make decisions. And the reviews are not necessarily what's driving, the price is not necessarily what's driving those decisions, it's the reviews as much as anything. Because you don't want to play an inexpensive golf course that, quite frankly, is not in good shape and the consumer knows it because you just told them it was. Okay? So that kind of gives you a brief synopsis of where we're at in Myrtle Beach with pricing and our websites.
Thanks, guys. My first question for you guys is, can you tell everyone what the difference between a third-party Tee Time discounter and a third-party marketing partner is?
I'll take that one. I'll start with that one. A third-party marketing partner is someone that actually actively markets your golf course. And how do they market it? And unfortunately, I can't speak for every third-party marketer out there. I represent Golf Now, which is owned by Golf Channel, which is owned by NBC Sports, which is owned by Comcast. So it's a pretty big media organization that has the power to market for our partner courses. So we're doing a lot of things, right? So it's not only marketing on the websites. We have, there's banner ads on our family websites. So there's over 600 websites out there that are marketing our partner golf courses. We do it through emails. We have one of the largest databases in golf, so over a million and a half people. So if you're in Myrtle Beach and you want to reach the Columbus, Ohio market, we can do that via email. Through TV, we're running 10,000 ads on the Golf Channel every year that simply say, Golf Now, go out and play. So to answer the question again, what does a marketing partner do? They actually market for that individual golf course.
I guess as an operator and general manager for 3 courses, one of the big questions I've gotten with some of the third-party things that we've looked at is that it does market our course, but say, like Golf Now, I've got a meeting with an individual, our representative when we get back to California next week. The thing that I've been talking to him about is that so you're marketing our facilities, but if our tee time is gone, something pops up that says, well, that tee time is no longer available. Here's the golf course in the area at a similar price point. That's one of the concerns that I have is, okay, so people are coming looking for our facilities, but if our time is not available, then you're pushing them to some of our competition and things like that, which to me, I'm under the assumption as long as people are playing golf, they're playing golf, and they'll come back to our facilities. But, you know, if you're going to be making money from our greens fees or our packages, which we may not sell anyways, otherwise if it was going through another third-party generator, you know, how is that kind of a situation as far as marketing is concerned? How can you address those kind of
Sure. I understand the question, and I think you're referring to the recommendation engine. So if one tee time is not available to a certain course, what'll come up first thing are similar tee times at the same course. So I'm sorry, 10 o'clock is not available, but would you like 10:30 or 11? So that's the first thing, and there's a math logarithm that does that for you. So first thing is the golf courses, the original golf course selects times. And if that's not available, it goes by location and similar price point. So sorry, this one's not available. Would you like this one? Or would you like this one perhaps on the same one on another day? I think a way to look at it is similar to iTunes. If anybody's purchased anything on iTunes, hey, I see you like this kind of music. Here's some recommendations for you. So certainly the first choice is the first choice of the consumer, and then it goes into other things just to get that consumer to play.
How do you guys determine, how does the actual discounting process work? And how do you determine times versus price points, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, that's kind of a broad question, okay? I think first of all, you have to bring it down to the time frame you're looking at, okay? Whether it's the winter or the summer or the spring, let's say, which is heavy package business, okay? Versus the fall, which is both, okay? But so I mean, you have it's so general. First, let's say this: in Myrtle Beach, and I can't speak nationally, but I'm sure you have it. Okay, we do have enough history of price, right? I mean, Myrtle Beach, and before the internet really came in, just to say this, we have 13 official posted rate periods within Myrtle Beach, and most markets that's something that they haven't done. People look at you and say, why would you do that? And if you go back to my statement about the hotel partners and them marketing golf, again, they had the data, they had the history on when the consumer was coming, when they could sell the room, and consequently that started to drive price. And then over the years, well, everybody could change their price within those 13 rate periods. The difference now is those 13 rate periods have become, I don't want to go this far, but in reality they are 13 periods, and we could sell every tee time at a different price within that period of time. So they really have turned into a guideline from a historical standpoint more than that they're locked in stone, because in reality, every tee time of the day could be a different price. The first question on third parties, I think we kind of view it in our market as a third-party provider tends to be somebody, in most cases, that only provides the tee time or room and tee time for a travel position, okay? And those people, to exist, have to market, because if they don't, then they just won't exist. They'll die, okay? So now that's what, and I think most markets could view it in that fashion, okay? Because it's simplistically, their skin in the game is being able to provide their customers, their golfers, to go play a particular course and stay in a particular place.
Jim, I have a question for you related to the comments the golfers are able to make. Do you guys help them at all sort of put things in categories such as pace of play, the quality of the greens, the bunkers are too firm? I mean, golfers can certainly be whiners, and I've had some of that showed up on some of these comments. I think it would be nice to have something fair.
What we do, just so everybody realizes, you can go on the website and answer questions of that nature. There's only like 5 or 6. And we do change them a little bit periodically as we learn how to get more responses. But that is actually not how we get the majority of the reviews right now. What we do is that if somebody books in one of our hotels or if they book online, they immediately get a confirmation. And if they did it by phone, they still 99% of the time get an email confirmation. So that means that we have their email address, right? Okay. From there, we send them a confirmation. They get pre-arrival letters, different offers and so forth, try to upsell them to other courses, other things in the community. And then we send them a post survey. And in that post survey is propagated with the courses they play, the questions that are on the review, and that's how we've been successful in getting people to respond to it. Are there whiners? Absolutely. And the whiners really show up loud and clear. I mean, everybody gets to see them, okay? I mean, actually, sometimes we go in and somebody will do a smackdown on them. Excuse me, I shouldn't say that. But that's what we call it internally because it is a whiner and it is funny, okay? But when you see them backed up with other great reviews, I don't think the consumer really thinks anything about it, okay? So do we guide them the best we can with the questions we kind of ask, you know, on this, and this, so that it starts to, but a lot of them, you'll see the reviews are great, had a great time, you know, starter was terrible, taste and flavor was bad, they came out and talked, whatever, okay? But it gives people an idea of what's going on.
You can use the word smackdown, no problem here.
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't think anyone blinked even at that, did they? Paul, let me ask you, in other golf industry events, and among actually golf pros of mom and pop places and all like that, they're really afraid of the discounting thing. I know you want to not use that word discounting, but they see that as discounting competing with their facilities. How does your system compete with other facilities, or what are their fears?
Yeah, I think the biggest fear is the downward cycle, right? So this guy's 30 bucks, then I gotta be 29, and that guy is 28, and it just keeps going down and down and down and down. And we certainly want to avoid that. I think what happens is that the consumer has spoken, and the consumer likes to shop when there's multiple things to buy in one place. So price is only one part of that situation, right? There's so many other variables that will determine why a customer, why a golfer wants to play this course or another, right? We've done a survey with NGF that says actually course conditions, we were talking about green versus brown, are more important than price. So you've got to look at where your course is, what are the amenities, what are the locations, what kind of conditions, all included with price as well.
To follow up on Rich's point, there's no question that there's definitely a danger to how these models work. But what it is I don't want to be too harsh, but it's almost like Walmart. Okay, I mean, you go through town after town after town throughout this country. Great mom and pop places. They were doing a lot of things right. Just got blown out of the water. They just couldn't compete on scale or whatever else it is. And obviously, it's maybe a loose analogy. But I think on some places, frankly, they can't buy into something like that, or for whatever reason. And again, not that we have to, I mean, you know, survival of the fittest and all, we recognize that, but at some point, you know, I think you have to step back a little and say, how healthy is this? You know, obviously everybody wants to make money, but I think that's part of what's gotten us to where the game's health is a reflection of what's going on in the greater economy too. It's not been healthy. People are fighting their tail off just to try and open their doors. And I understand part of this is a solution for some, but I guess my question would be is, in what way? Because I mean, I heard you list off, you know, Golf Channel, which is owned by NBC, which is owned by, well, I mean, that starts getting a little scary when you think about that, because there's vested interests all through those layers. And if they're owned by those entities, and these are kind of subsidiaries, it can kind of get a little slippery there. So I guess speak to maybe how you factor in pricing and that type of thing to, let's say, some of the operators that may not be able to upgrade as quickly to the type of things that you guys are offering.
Sure. You know, the operator chooses the price, and we'll work with the operator maybe to introduce revenue management and go from there. So once the price is set, it's really about marketing. So where we help that, you know, kind of mom and pop golf course is in marketing. So that golf course may not have the resources to, or the marketing budget to get their message out. But when they partner with some of these third parties, especially Golf Now, we put the message out. So not necessarily about pricing, but it's about marketing and getting your course out to as many people as we can.
Is there a variety of pricing respective to the type of facility?
Yes,
service?
Yeah, I mean, again, the pricing is completely up to the course, but we recommend a variety of pricing because we know there's a variety of consumers, right? We know some consumers are price sensitive and other consumers are time sensitive. Hey, I've got to play Saturday morning. I understand that's going to be, $10 or $15 higher.
Could I ask this group, and everybody's diverse here, and I'm going to give an example. This is from a golf course perspective, right? Okay. We had 2 in-market programs, okay, that were basically designed for second homeowners, which I mentioned earlier, locals that lived there, and both of them, one was owned by the Golf Course Owners Association, and the other one was a local community organization that had created one and it flourished, okay? And most of the golf courses were in the local one as well as the one that they owned themselves. And I will just say this in front of this group because in the community, everybody knows that I was against the local in-market one that wasn't by the Golf Course Owners. And I was not for it for one or two reasons. The most important ones is that the golf courses would give this program their rates 12 months in advance. So you take a program, okay, and they did it to themselves too, which we were pushing to move away from that. And you print it out in a travel destination market, right? And you let the guy buy it that's from Ohio. And he goes back and shows every one of his buddies and says, look at these great prices you can get on every golf course in Myrtle Beach almost, right? And he said, well, why are we going to do this package? Why would we book in advance if I could go down and wait and get that price? And the reason I bring this up as an example here is that, not only do you have to change very rapidly, because golf has been a late adopter to online piece of booking, without question, okay? But they have to stand back and look at all their pricing programs and not just one existing one. And I'm in Myrtle Beach, and I will say this, okay, so everybody knows that I'm also the chairman of Golf Holiday on top of it. And with 23 golf courses, we have everything as a vested interest to sell the golf at the most profitable, affordable price to maximize the demand that exists within the market. Ours is not to go low. I mean, at some point, I can tell you with a lot of the programs, the individual golfer can only play so many rounds of golf a year, and it has nothing to do with the price that you're putting out there. I mean, it's an amazing thing. I was in Monterey going to another conference, and I asked the person that I was with, and I really kind of knew the answer before I asked the question, but I said, when was the last time you paid for a round of golf? And the person looked at me, and he said, very truthful, he said, I don't know if I've ever paid for a round of golf. And I only use that is because we got a lot of people in an industry, myself included, okay, that in Myrtle Beach, we don't always have the sensitivity to what the consumer actually thinks about price. We don't look at the total market. We don't look at all the pricing programs that are in the market that have changed, okay? Because as little as, what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8, all this online presence really barely existed in most cases. It didn't exist in a lot of cases at all. The consumer has that choice to do that now. The consumer will do it. They will find a way. Amazon, Zappos, okay? The list goes on. Everybody does it online. Everybody. Everybody in this room wants to buy a new TV. Well, I guarantee you, before you went into Best Buy, you already looked at how many different prices, everything else. We all do it. It's just that what puts bread on our table is a golf tee time, right? So I think one of the things we need to do, and it's kind of a long way around that question for both of us, quite frankly, is we have to make sure that the pricing programs in the market, okay, have become current to the times that we're in the market, the time that we're in the market right now.
One of the bigger issues that nobody's really talked about is we've gone from 31 million golfers to 25. And I wondered if you all could speak about third-party marketing and perhaps how the overall number could be grown, and if you felt like third-party marketing had a role, because obviously pricing and marketing is only delivering it to the customers that already exist. So is there a role that third-party marketers can play in helping us get back the game back to where it used to be?
I'll take that one. I think that as far as Golf Channel and Golf Now is concerned, we do have a role. Being this large media company, the whole channel in Golf Now relies on whether people play golf or not. If people play golf, they're more likely to buy equipment. If they're more likely to buy equipment, then Titleist advertises on the Golf Channel. So it really makes sense for Golf Channel, Golf Now, NBC to be involved in the growth of the game. We've got dozens, tens of dozens of programs out there designed just to do that. And again, with our commercials, we're screaming 10,000 times a year for people to go out and play, go ahead and golf now. So I think it does make sense that we're trying to grow the game. You're familiar with Golf 2.0, which is the PGA program. We have a lot of the similar type of programs to get people out and play, see what they can do with 9 holes of golf, late afternoon golf, getting people be engaged in the game. So yeah, it's a serious issue.
So I guess one of the questions I've got is there's two here, and maybe I've misunderstood from the sales individual that I've been speaking with. I work for a county government, and our fees are set by the board of supervisors, and I can't discount below that. We've got 8 different tiers throughout the day. We don't do necessarily seasonality. We're in California. We pretty much 12 months out of the year we can play golf. The weather doesn't change a whole lot. So we've structured it and tiered it within our own system. When the Golf Now individuals are coming into our facility, there's another third party that we've been discussing with as well, is that we're basically giving them the tee time. And they're telling us, my concern is that I'm saying $13 is what the price is at 4 o'clock. And they're saying, well, if we can't sell it at 13, then we're going to discount it down to whatever price. I said, I can't give you those tee times if it's going to be, you're going to be setting the price. And I understand that's what I've been hearing is, I get to set the price. What I'm getting from some of the other individuals is that that's not the case. I'm giving you the tee time and you'll sell it for whatever you can get it for. And the other question I have is the main overriding question is, when we're looking at third-party tee time discounters, what's the ultimate goal? Because my concern is, and I think a lot of the different operators' concerns are, is that consumer perception, their willingness to pay then decreases as they start moving towards looking for the third-party discounts or discounted tee times in general, whether we're doing it with promotions or whether anybody else is doing it. Once we start going down and people's willingness to pay and the perception of value of golf declines, how do we ever get back from that? And I understand the analogy of going to Amazon and things like that, but you're looking at economies of scale and those kind of situations. I've got a certain amount of tee times, and I've got costs I need to cover, which is different than an Amazon situation where they're buying a huge bulk or they're a third party for some other organization and they're willing to sell it at that price. So I guess my question is, what's the ultimate goal? And obviously all of ours is to get the game of golf and grow the game of golf and get people playing golf. But it's also to make sure that we're staying whole in the situation, the scenario where each individual business is in.
Sure. Ultimate goal, let's tackle that question first. So I think for Golf Channel and Golf Now, the ultimate goal for our courses, what we want to do is bring new customers to your golf course. Right, so through our media exposure, we're exposing your golf course to all these people, and the ultimate goal is to take a new person, introduce them to your golf course, and then that guy has a great time and he comes back and back and back. So it's really about introducing new customers to your golf course. As far as the pricing is concerned, I'll go back to the golf course controls the price. Right, so it's completely up to you. You mentioned you have some city regulations and things like that. So we certainly understand that. We work with a lot of municipalities out there, and they're under kind of the same restraints. So we'll work with what you have. Whatever you want us to post, we'll post. And I think you're referring to the model, which is the Arden model, right? Is that what your original?
Yeah, I couldn't exactly tell you.
Yeah, well, the majority of the tee times are, 99% of the tee times are controlled by the course. The way our model works is we work with, we ask for 1 tee time a day, and we price it based on all these different parameters. Certainly, if you're in a municipality, we can we understand that, we will price accordingly, but it's typically an unused or low demand time, and the goal there is not to take a tee time that the golf course would want. So.
I think one of the things you have to remember as it pertains to the bar tee times that he's talking about, and being in the business also with them, is that, not with them, but as a competitor actually, is that everyone believes that it's 100% that they sell all these tee times for, just sell 3%. And that's what we call a sell 3%. We don't even come remotely close to that number. The national average for sell 3% is just 28% of the tee times that we're given as bar. So what I mean by saying that is that people think that these guys are selling whatever they want. In reality, it's a struggle. It's not. We sold 100%, we make a ton of money, but we don't. We sell roughly 28%. That market fluctuates anywhere. 23 to 30% is where that flows, and that's where we get that average. So I don't want anybody to think margins are a bad thing, or the pricing structure, or losing that pricing integrity is a bad thing. So I just want to say that percentage is not what you think it is. They're not rolling in money as much as you think.
Guys, is there a golf course out there that would not benefit from this process?
Sure. It's hard to find, really. What I would say is, a course like Pebble Beach, or a course like Planters No. 2, that is a household name, right, that has lots of marketing to spend in, and their tee sheets are sold out with high dollars day after day after day. I don't know if that's the case at Planters No. 2 or Pebble Beach. So I think they could use the exposure, at least for what Golf Now and what Golf Channel does. We look at it almost as the yellow pages. So when people are Googling golf in your area, they go to Golf Now, and it's really a listing. And if you're not listed, and if you're not part of the kind of the tee time mall, I think you're missing the boat. So there may be some, but I think we can benefit most courses that are out there.
Jim, in Myrtle Beach, how many courses do you guys market, and what's the resistance from other courses? Do they just not see the benefit of a group?
Well, there are, I think it's 78 golf courses on tee links, which is the tee sheet, which what consumers see online, which is guest test, which we don't need to get into the weeds. That what you see to actually look at accesses those 78 golf courses. They set their price, but I've never asked the golf course for a better price. I've actually had golf courses come to me and say, "Do you think I'm too high or too low or whatever?" And I said, "Well, why do you think that?" We go through it and we look and see where they fit. I mean, when you look at a grid of every golf course, all listed, okay. Now in the market, you kind of know you do know where your golf course fits in the scheme of things, okay. And so that helps you put yourself into perspective to the others as to what your price should be. I think that one of the things that would benefit golf courses the most, actually, is the more exposure they had to their golf course across multiple platforms of tee times, the better off they would be, and the price would move up. It's kind of like technology has moved us into very quickly into a new era here. When I was talking about Myrtle Beach and the passport and another in-market card, one of the goals here is not to put pricing out 12 months in advance. One of the goals is to take all the major hotels and put a booking engine on those for tee times. And the more exposure you get to your inventory, the more price will move up. The price will not move down because of supply and demand. I mean, as an industry, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and back in the beginning of the year, we did a lot of research at Gold Holiday. We actually solicited participate in programs like what we all do. But the number that kind of fascinated me out of the 25 or 6 million we said back there was 14.4 million, they're saying, are core golfers, okay? I think it's 6 or more rounds a year, but 14.4. I went back and looked to see how far back you had to go to see where there were about 14.4 million golfers. And there was 87, 88. Now I just look at Myrtle Beach as a marketplace, and I know the number of golf courses that existed in 87, 88 versus the number that exists now. And life would be easy if that's all the golf courses are working on, okay? But they're not. And that whole issue has impacted the country. Supply and demand, I mean, the economy. You've only got X number of people that are playing golf. Actually, statistically, the ones that come to Myrtle Beach right now, they are more affluent than they were 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Every study says it. Dramatically, actually, okay?
If I can answer that, Jim.
Here's the ironic part. What's booked online? Because we monitor all the courses, okay? We actually tend to skew more upper middle to upper online and not lower middle to lower online. It's an amazing thing, actually.
That's good. You know, you talk about the supply and demand issue. You know, if I would put this in a smaller context, we work with a lot of courses in Ireland. And in Ireland, over the last 15 years, they've doubled the amount of courses. So in 15 years, they've gone from 200 courses to 400 courses, and the amount of golfers have stayed the same. So, I mean, it's clear that, you know, these guys are there pulling their heads out, what can I do? And the problem is there's too many golf courses, and we need to close some golf courses. We're seeing that happen here in the States slowly, but I think we'll continue to see that as time goes on.
Actually, I think add something to that, because I sit in a lot of meetings in Myrtle Beach, and somebody said, well, we just got rid of 20 golf courses, life would be good. But here's an ironic part to that, and I'm sure a lot of you are in markets where you can say the same thing. The reality in most cases is that, certainly in Myrtle Beach and a lot of places, because they were developed for housing and so forth, there isn't really anything you can do in a lot of cases with the golf course if you don't operate it as a golf course. And what we have, it's kind of ironic in Myrtle Beach, and I'm sure it's similar every place else, is that you have a golf course that is not making it with its current debt structure. It has loans to X amount to a bank, and if we just picked a number and said it was $10 million, they're not making it. The bank takes it over. Well, the bank doesn't own the golf course, okay? So they start looking for somebody to buy it, and I'm just making up numbers. So they find somebody that's going to buy it for $5 million, okay? But still in the marketplace, that $5 million doesn't actually equate to a bottom line operation, and they go with it, okay? So eventually, a golf course will end up being owned by somebody that has enough, or at least the amount of debt structure to make it work favorably. And we don't anticipate golf courses going away. I mean, there'll be some, but that's not going to solve our problem as an industry, or certainly in our market.
Any last questions for our guests? Just real quick, just to wrap up in a few sentences. Symposium on affordable golf, obviously, and so green fees prices have gone down in the past. But if you can leave everybody each with one thought about third-party marketing and how it contributes to affordable golf and doesn't dilute the product at all, we appreciate it.
Sure, I would take it back to revenue management and be smart with how you're pricing. Again, we work with 4,200 golf courses, and we see so many operators out there guessing at prices. Hey, it's Wednesday, it's not very busy. On Sunday, they're going to throw a dart, and okay, $39, right? So where's that $39 come from? If you're an owner, you're going to ask the operator, where's that $39? Well, he says, I just felt like it. I think that's what it's going to be. That's not going to keep your job much longer. That $39, well, based on the weather, based on historical data, based on our baseline structure, based on these other 14 variables, that's how I got to my $39. So I think it's, let's be a little bit smarter when we price and how we price and how we distribute it.
I guess that if I could leave anything, and this is not easy, and I'm going to use it as a story. I met somebody about 5 months ago that was from another travel destination, and they were telling me a story about how they had gone through great detail to emulate golf holiday. They got group golf courses together, was known, it was big. They kind of had the same model of generating through a fee for golf rent, which is Myrtle Beach switched to a few years ago. And he went through the whole program in great detail, came up for breath, and I looked at him and I said, so how's that working for you? And he said, it's terrible. It's a disaster. And the only reason I share the story is that if I could leave anything with everybody is that everybody has a common goal of owning a golf course, and that is to offer a great experience to the golfer, to hopefully have them return because of that experience, and they need to work together to accomplish that, because I think Myrtle Beach is a great example. Historically, we've just moved into a new era. We now have expanded, which I mentioned earlier, our distribution, and how we did that is, and it's kind of complicated because of state laws and funding and taxes and so forth, but we've actually now in the process of getting a membership for every golf course in Myrtle Beach to the Myrtle Beach Chamber. And the reason I bring it up is that it's rather a large expenditure, but in light of the total marketing dollars and what is spent, it's not that big. But that expenditure will generate 9 million eyeballs to that website for the chamber, of which you could say 8% are golfers. Maybe a little bit more because it's Myrtle Beach and it's speaking a little bit higher. So, but it's working together as a group that in your markets, I think, where you'll find the biggest rewards.
Guys, well, thank you for coming to the symposium. We hope you stick around for the rest of the day. Let's give them a hand. Now we're going to break for lunch and just a couple things. Of course, lunch over in the clubhouse. We've got 3 choices: chicken salad, fried chicken sandwich, and something else. And that's really good. The wrap, thank you. Real quick, I'd like to introduce, we've met Gary Stroll, my staff. Ching Wong is here with the camera, and then Ben Hood in the back there. If you have any questions or concerns or need anything, just let one of the 4 of us know. We're going to meet back here at 1 o'clock to give everyone a little breathing room to run to the village and get something to eat if we don't eat across the way. If you have not checked in yet, please see one of us so we can just make sure that we know you're here. And if you end up playing golf tomorrow, please let us know that as well. And we'll see you at 1.
Is that your jacket there? You want to take your jacket?